Hey everybody, are you there? And can you hear me? And can you chat? Can you comment? We're on the new channel, as you know, and it's important to find out how it works. Morning, Craig. Let's see. And I'm connecting the microphones right now. Doodle-doodle-doot. Dang it. Uh-oh. All right, hopefully the mics work. Okay, can you hear me? Please say yes. All right, let me know if you can hear me. Por favor. Pics, good, sounds good. Okay, was that after I put the microphone in? I don't know if these comments are delayed. Whew. All right. And there's a little bit of a breeze. I might have to go get my dead cat for this microphone. All right, well, a little bit of a rocky road getting started on this new channel and new microphones. So anyway, welcome to the Creekside, guys. Because of my cell service, I'm stuck out here with the creek way over there. But I just might get Elon Musk internet pretty soon. Oh, Starlink. I always call it Elon Musk internet, but Starlink. I might be getting that soon, and then I can do live videos anywhere I am because satellites. So I almost became a realtor the other day. Well, the other day it came up that I might get my real estate license going again. I'll tell you more about that later. Craig just asked how much I'm asking for my property. $350,000. It's 45 acres with irrigation rights. And it's weird pricing. It's a challenging piece to sell because most people who want to build a house are looking for 10 or 15 acres. So if you can find 10 or 15 acres, which are easier to find than 45 acres, then it sells for like 200,000, 250,000. Even 7 acres sells for like 200,000. So you can't really go off of a per acre price, because then you come over here, if you did a per acre price based on those prices and put it up at 450,000 and then put a house on it, well, that prices everybody out of it. Pricing vacant land is really complicated, and I used to be a realtor, so I know what I'm talking about. Hey, horses! Who came to join us? These guys are wandering free, while poor Sam over there has to live alone. That's kind of a long story. And in this county, no, you can't split it up, which I kind of like. I mean, it would make it easier for me. I'd make more money if I could. But our county, it's kind of cool that they don't let people split up the county properties below 20 acres so that we can keep it rural, without making it a bunch of neighborhoods. And mine, even though mine is big enough, when it's the size of my property, you can split it like every 20 years. But when I bought it, it had been divided in the past, I don't know. It was recent enough that I couldn't divide it. Maybe I should go check again and see, because I've been here 5 years now. Gosh, if I was a year or two away, then I'd maybe hang on to it. and then split it. I hate to do that though. I mean, I probably would because it's my retirement money, but you know, you hate to do that to the neighbors because everybody out here wants less houses, and I already sold one piece. So anyway, I've been thinking about it as to whether I could keep the property. That's part of what was making me consider becoming a realtor again. Because if I was a realtor, it'd be easy to keep this property, and then I could start putting money into it. But you know, I go out to my other property, and I just love it out there, and that's where I want to be. Even though it's harsher climate, because I don't have the creek and the shade to hide out in. All I would have to do is get that hole dug so I've got a cool place to hang out, put up a shade for the horses and myself so I could hang out outside and not have to hang out in that hole all the time. And then once I've got a couple spots with shade, then it's fine. And besides that, during July and August, the latter half of July and August, I can go up to the mountains and get away from the harsh heat also, and take all my horses, especially if I only have 2 horses. Right now with 3 horses, it's kind of challenging. But I could load them all up in my truck and trailer, and we could just go hang out in the mountains. So I don't really need this property. That's my point. I just don't really need it. Even the fixing up that I would want to do, it would really just restrict me more, where I'd have to be here all the time, even though I am here all the time. I would have to be here. It'd be another obstacle for getting up, unless I turned it into a big horse property, but then I'd have to make it so profitable that I could pay somebody to work it. So it's just not worth it to me. Hey guys, especially when I want to be at my other property. Hey horsies. They've been a little more sociable lately. Hi girls. Poor Sam's over there alone because he keeps busting out of the property. I think I've mentioned, gosh darn that wind. I might have to turn this around. Yeah, these guys, they don't care if the electric fence is hot or not. They don't leave. But when I had Sam running loose, he was busting through the non-electric fence, and taking off too much. And so that's why he's caged up. And for a while I was doing a rotation thing so that none of the horses pinned up were alone. And then I'd let one loose to eat. But gosh, after a while I felt bad basically punishing these two because they're such good horses. And so I decided to stop doing that. And besides that, I wanted to feed the other one hay because he's awfully thin. I want him to fatten up. So I started buying him hay and alfalfa. And so, also because I'm not irrigating my land, it's kind of fire danger. So, so I'm also using him to eat down the dry grass because horses like dry grass. There's the alfalfa. That's my round pen, that dirt spot. That's my round pen where I moved the round pen to put him on grass over there. I don't know if you can see him through the fencing. Whoops, over here. He's right in there right above the hay. So he's eating it down, turning it to dirt over there, so I can make this barrier around me, make this dirt area where I can park my vehicles so that if my field goes up in flames, we can all huddle up in this dirt patch and potentially be safe. And then I also brought some water tanks around that I need to fill up with water, and then if a fire happens, I can create a barrier. She's got straw hanging out of her mouth. Hey, horsies. What they really want is grain. I like to pretend they're here to be sociable. They might be. I mean, they like me. They don't hate me. But just got to remember, just like women, most really hang out with you if you got something to give them. No offense to any women listening. Jennifer, I know you're a good woman. Hey, welcome Dead Wolf Resistance. Yes, Craig, with irrigation, somebody could farm this place. Yes, it could be farmed. I mean, it's even better for pasture here because of the way it's shaped and the way that the creek is going through it. But there are big flat areas where it wouldn't be difficult to farm 10 or 15 acres. And then there's a 6 or 7 acre spot that could be laid out. But it's that one's kind of triangular. So people like to use wheel lines because it's the quickest to irrigate with. And so a rectangle is ideal. And there is a spot over here where it could probably be 12 acres, pretty easy, a rectangle. And then if they wanted to run more irrigation line, there's another 10 acres over there where it could be irrigated with a wheel line. But I decided to just do pasture when I was here because of that, and also because I'm able to keep my horses on pasture for about 10 months. So I didn't see any point in getting into farming hay just for 2 months worth of hay. It's easier just to buy it. If I had to feed hay like 6 months, then yeah, different story. Then I might have gone into it, but just didn't want to. Round bale of coastal is 60 bucks. What do those round bales weigh? About 800 pounds. We've got them here. Somebody out in West Valley selling round bale of alfalfa for 850 pounds for 80 bucks. And that's a pretty good deal around here. But hay is also down. It's been really expensive in the past 5 years. And now it's finally dropping, which is good for the buyer, but not good for the farmer. There's a lot of people that kind of losing. So that's the danger of houses, of farming, of a lot of anything, is the up and down swings of it. I got into real estate right before the 2008 crash, and had I known more about what I know now, I would have been happy. All I had to do was buy as many houses as I could when it was tanked like that, and I could have come out a multi-millionaire. It's weird. Everything I know now, but I didn't know it at the right time. And so that's when wealthy people make money, is during the economic crashes. And I listened to one historian recently. He says all of that's planned, and I wouldn't be surprised. He wasn't a conspiracy theorist. He was a college professor, hardcore leftist feminist, and a lot of his history was dubious. But it was really interesting to hear what he was saying about that, about the history of a lot of things. And like I say, he was going into how the West developed our economy and stuff, and how they plan all that stuff, all the crashes, or I guess, I don't know, that sounds like crazy conspiracy, but not so much that they plan it, but that it's a feature rather than a bug, we'll say. And I learned that. I came out pretty good from it, just buying houses in 2000. I bought a house in 2009, bought one in 2010, but that didn't help me any. and then I bought another one in 2013. Those are the only two, the 13 and well, no, I bought one in 2014 that helped me too. I flipped it, made a bunch of money because that's when the market was really starting to rise. And 2009 was the deepest part of our recession, and but I bought a house then and it paid off big time. And then that's where I also, because I was a realtor, I learned that people were buying up houses what they call wholesale, because the banks were taking in so many houses and they're not in the business of selling houses. So they would just, they'd make a big long list of all these houses that they repossessed and finalized so that they held the title again. And then they'd send off this list, or they'd auction it off. I don't know how the people bought it, but they'd like 500 houses, or maybe it's 50, or maybe 100. I don't remember the quantity, but it was a lot, especially for a young guy like me, thinking, what in the world, you bought that many houses? Oh, maybe it was 500,000. This guy called me up asking me if I'd go look at it, because he was like in, what state was he? I think he was in Arizona or California. And he told me, hey, would you go look at or what do you know about this house? I don't think he paid me to go look at it, but he asked me what I knew about it, and I did know about it. So I told him, and we got to talking. He told me what he was doing, that he bought like 50 houses, maybe it was 50 houses for 500,000, and that he would never visit. They're all over the country. And so each house, he would go through each house and figure out what to do, whether to wholesale it or whether to remodel it and put it on the market. And the one that he called me about had been a fire. It had a fire, so it wasn't worth remodeling. It was just one that you'd remove the house and sell the lot. But he got a lot of good deals out of that, because you get some that don't even need work. You just go in, you list it, sell it for $200,000 back then, and that nearly paid, just the one house nearly pays for what you paid, or 2 or 3 houses pays off what you paid. Now you got 47 more houses to just make pure profit. So that's what I mean. People with a lot of money, they make money during those times. But those of us who are poor, we mostly just suffer. I was able to get into the house because I got a really good job with the Army as a civilian contractor, making 21 bucks an hour. And that got me a little bit of money for a down payment, and got me a work history so that I could get approved for a loan. And then President Obama was foolishly giving people money for down payments. You get a $10,000 cash credit. This was a brilliant deal. I wish I would have taken more advantage of it. So there was a government down payment assistance where they gave you could get a 3% down payment loan, and they would give you your down payment, and then you got a $10,000 tax credit. Now this was all hard to get. I didn't know that until it came time to do my taxes. I thought they would just hand it to you because you trust the government. No, they make it really complicated so that a lot of people got screwed out on it. Fortunately, I had a good accountant at that time, which is rare for me, but at that time I did, and I got the 10,000 bucks back. So I made money buying the house, and then I rented out rooms, and I lived there for free, and then I rented it out later. So I did nothing but make money off of that house. And then ultimately I sold it and paid off this place. And so that's how I made money in the 2008 crash. And like I said, had I known that now, I would have just bought a few houses and held on to them. But life is weird. You learn all this stuff, and then you're too old to care or want to do it. Well, a lot of people are still greedy when they're old, but a lot of us, I mean, how many years do I have left? What's the point in building up an empire now? When I was young, you got your future ahead of you. And wanting to do big things. And then you try to tell young people, but they don't listen. I offer my advice for free to everybody because that's what wisdom does, so that's what I imitate. That's my philosophy. And nobody listens. They'd rather, there I put my filter on, they'd rather complain about how bad it is, and it is bad. The situation for young people is really bad, but there's ways to get around it, but nobody wants to listen to that. Also, I did have particularly good times, but still. So that's the weird joke. The weird joke that life is. You don't know anything, you try to do a lot of things, you learn from trying to do it, and then you don't need that knowledge. So you try to pass it on, but they're too arrogant to want to hear it. It's like, what in the world? This life is a joke, which is why had I just lived like this when I was a teenager like I wanted to do, my life would have been a whole lot better. Would have avoided that cruel, weird joke. Let's see. This is the straw hanging out of my mare's mouth. Oh, I put this filter on just now, but it put a little blue spot down in the corner, so I took it off. Besides, it doesn't look too bad with the cloud cover. It's not too bright out. Anyway, all right. Hey, Royce and Jennifer, good morning. I mentioned you a little bit ago. So if you're just now joining us, you'll have to go back and listen to that the first 20 minutes later. Whoops. And Craig says, so I had 20 grand to invest. What should I do? Well, I'll tell you, because I was nearly in that situation a week ago. And 20 grand is difficult to make money on. I know one guy, and I probably shouldn't say this because this is a rare thing, but I know one guy who he's day trading stocks and making money off of it. But the other thing about money is it depends on your age. Like at my age, 20 grand, I was gonna probably try to day trade stocks because I used to do Forex trading, day trading, and I came out ahead even though I never really made money. But I think I know enough now where I could you take your 20 grand, put it in the bank, take 10 grand, you take half of it and invest it on these stocks that fluctuate a lot by day. And if you remember right, you try to go for 2% gains. And then you can make a couple grand a month or something like that. But the main thing, of course, is to live cheap. If somebody's living, if it takes 5 grand, 6 grand a month to live, well, then 20 grand ain't gonna help you. But if you live like me, where you can live off really well off of 2 grand a month, well then day trading stocks might be worth it because it could give the freedom. But if you got a good job, and you don't need to live off of that money and just want to make it grow, well, it depends again on your skills. So I've had a lot of history. My dad taught me how to buy and sell things. So I used to make money. My parents I sold their cabin for them, and then they paid off a lot of stuff and had like 15 grand left, or 10 grand maybe. So I made a deal with them where I could use that 10 grand to buy trucks. I was buying and selling Dodge trucks, and then I would split the profit with them 50-50. And that worked out pretty well. I was making $500 to $1,000 on each truck. And so that was a pretty good side project for me, and it got my parents, who were pretty broke, it got them some money too. And then I bought one truck where I couldn't sell it, and so I kept it. And then I don't know what happened to the money, but eventually then I started making my own money. So my point is, if you're really good at buying and selling, you can buy and sell stuff. There's always stuff on Craigslist or Marketplace that you can buy and sell. I started to learn, my dad used to fix up cars because that's what he learned as a kid. he bought and sold his first car when he was like, how old was he? He was like 14 or 15 years old. He bought a truck, his first car, because he was born in 29 or 27. I always get it backward. And his first car was a 29 or a 27 Ford Model A. Doggone, I wish I would have wrote this down. It was a car converted to a truck. And he bought it, and it needed a new windshield. So he took the windshield that it had. He lived in a place called Forest Grove outside of Portland. And he took that and got on and hitched a ride. He used to hitchhike everywhere, even as a kid, to go fishing and stuff. So he hung his thumb and got a ride into Portland, had that windshield replaced, took it home, put it back on the truck, and then sold the car. They used to convert cars to trucks by removing the back end. And then he sold it and like doubled his money. And that's the kind of thing my dad did. He came up with that, like I said, when he was just young. And then he taught us to do that. I bought my first car when I was 14. It was essentially my dad buying it, but he walked me through it. And then he sold it and then didn't give me the money. But anyway, that's a long story. But I learned a lot. And so that's where I learned from my dad. But anyway, oh yeah, so I eventually learned by shopping for cars, you don't have to buy any that they need fixing. You find somebody that just needs to get rid of it right away. If you know the market well enough and you know what they sell for, and then you see a good deal that's priced like $2,000 below what they would normally sell for, you just go buy that and then resell it without even having to fix it up. Maybe have it detailed for a couple $100, so it looks even nicer. Cleaning it, that's what my dad did figure that out, that a lot of times all that it takes a lot of times is cleaning. And that's a trick you see with car salesmen. You know, you get this car that might have a bad transmission, but it's glistening when you open the door, and so you think it's a nice car. So anyway, one of my best deals, I dealt with Dodges mainly, 4x4 diesels, because that's a hot seller around here. And then I saw a Toyota Tundra come up. It was on the west side, because you get cheaper cars over on the west side. And so this Tundra was priced low. That's my horse's nose. She's got my phone up her nose. Hang on, I'll get back to the Tundra story here in a second. So anyway, I saw this Tundra advertised, and I messaged, and I wasn't sure about it. So I took the pictures from the Craigslist ad and made my own Craigslist ad here in town, in my town, which is 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away. And I got a couple of calls right off the bat. One guy asked if he could see it the next morning. And I thought, okay, so at this increased price, it's a hot seller, because I priced it above. So I drove over there, test drove it. My dad went with me so he could drive my car back. I test drove the truck, seemed perfect. Drove it back home. The next morning, the guy came over, looked at it. I let him talk me down, and I made $500, which to me at the time was a lot of money for just half a day's work. But that's because I knew the market, knew what I was doing, so I was able to pull that off. I really like that one. Because everybody got a good deal. Like the guy that bought it, he got it below market price. The gal that sold it, I don't think I talked her down. I gave her what she asked for, so she got her price out of it. And I made $500 for doing the deal. Like I say, back then I was working for 20 bucks an hour, so $500 was a lot of money. Maybe I could have made 1,000 on it, I don't know, but I didn't care to be greedy. I liked the idea of everybody making money or getting a good deal. So anyway, If you got 20,000 bucks and you know what you're doing, you can buy and sell stuff. If you got 20,000 bucks and you can day trade, if not, and you got a lot of years ahead of you, well then throw it into the index fund, the S&P 500. That they say normally makes 10% a year, and start adding to it. That's what I wish I would have done. So many mistakes. So many ways I could be a millionaire, multi-millionaire right now. Now she's scratching her now she's scratching her ears on my phone. Hey, you big silly goofball. Stop it. Yeah. So, oh crap. All right, there's a microphone disconnected. All right. Oh, I see what happened. All right. Did that change anything? Hopefully y'all can hear me. So anyway, the only reason I would want money is to buy land and to pay taxes that I have to pay on my land. I just want, if I had money, like $1 million, like I keep saying I could have had if I had been wise and smart, I'd just be living off of the interest, or actually I'd have it invested in the stock market, and then I'd feed a little money into it, back into it to make my money grow, while just living off of the other and buying more land, just so I can live the way I want to. That's primarily, not so I could have nice houses and nice vacations and stuff, but just so I can do stuff and not have to work, because I do need money. So anyway, yeah. And Jennifer says if she could do it again, she would live homeless. Homeless with Royce, or you mean you would be single? Royce might have snatched you up, given you a home. Yeah, I learned so much about money. I want to do a video about it because there's so much to know that, like I said, had I known. And they don't tell us poor people that. You can buy books on it, but you know, those books are tricky because you never know if they're scamming you. But the best book, and to really believe it, I didn't believe it when I read it because I was always averse to those people who talk all about, you know, how to get rich, and money really is a cult. I really believe money's a cult, which is why I didn't want to become a realtor again, which I'll talk about here pretty soon. The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a simple, easy read, and it's got lessons that, had I embraced it, my dad gave it to me when I became a realtor, when I was getting my real estate license, when I first became one, and I read it. And had I embraced everything that it said, I would be multimillionaire, I'm pretty sure. At least, I'm pretty sure I'd be at least $1 million. $1 million would have been pretty easy for me to come out with. I was basically a realtor for 12 years. There's a couple of years. I let my license go a couple times when it was really bad. But anyway, so I almost became a realtor recently because somebody I know is listing her house, a family member's house, and then a friend's house. And I was talking to her about it because I love talking real estate. And I told her, well, if you list those with me, I'll become a realtor. I'll get my license going again. Because I don't know if you guys know how much realtors make. So prices have risen here. I don't know how much each of those houses were worth, but even if I estimate kind of modestly, I think one would have been like at least 500,000 sale price. Another one 300,000. The other one probably 3, because 3 is pretty average around here these days. So that would have been $1.1 million in sales. And I told her I would list so that I'd get 2%. More typically is like 3%. So 2% on $800,000 is $16,000. I've been out of it for a while, so I got to remember the math. $16,000 just on those two, plus another $6,000, $22,000. I could have made just on those three $22,000. And then you say, yeah, but that's gross. So you take out 20% for taxes, so down to like $19,000. And then you say, yeah, but there's expenses, business costs. That's the thing about real estate. The overhead is so dang low that it's negligible. So I might have come out with 18 grand cash on just those three. And then by advertising that I'm back in real estate and pushing some ads and stuff, I might have got some more listings this year and maybe a couple house buyings. So I could have come out, I could have done this year, maybe made like 60 grand without hardly working. It's not much work. But this person wanted to think it over, and I never heard back. And at first I was thinking, man, this would be really good because it could fund my movie that I want to make, and it could help me keep this property that I don't necessarily want to keep, but I could. And it could get me ahead on some things financially. But then when I didn't hear back from the person, I was actually relieved because I started thinking about it and thinking, so what's the benefits of doing this? Money. I think, what do I need? I don't need anything. I don't care if I want this property. I have a potential buyer. I have a potential buyer. And so I don't really need this property. I don't really want it. It's a ton of work if I do keep it that I don't necessarily want to do. I'm going to do other things. I want to be at my other property. And then I'm thinking, I start remembering all the stuff that comes with being a realtor, having to interact with other realtors, having to deal with potential clients. There's a lot of what I call corruption. I've been thinking a lot about money because I've been learning more about economics. And that's why I say that money really is a cult, because I start thinking, well, okay, if I have money, then I got to start doing this and that. And it really requires a lot of devotion. And the thing about money is it has its own set of morals, and they're not necessarily good morals. There's a lot of things that are ethical within money and business that to me is just downright unethical. Mostly we hear this stuff from one political side, and it makes me mad because a lot of it's right, but it gets politicized so that then the other side hears it and that makes them more defensive of the right side. And that's what frustrates me on nearly every topic, is they create it, the media creates it so that it's divisive. So instead of like conservative Christians thinking, yes, that's right, there is a lot of immorality going on in the economy, instead it becomes a freedom thing, and they defend freedom because America is free, and that's a good thing. We believe in it and we love it. But not to the point where it makes us ignore stuff. And same with my position on immigration. I believe that hardworking people who are family devoted should be here in this country. And it's a criminal offense against us Americans because we believe in helping people. We believe in those values. They should be able to come here and work hard. But then it becomes politicized where Anyway, I won't keep going in on that, but the point about this was money, that money has its own ethics, and it's not good ethics, but it has their own morals. That's what you can read about in the Richest Man in Babylon. It's basically the 10 Commandments of money. And if you follow it, you will be blessed. You will grow. If you don't follow it, you'll be poor. You'll be punished. And so it's very much a religion. You have to adhere to it. But like I say, those ethics, like I said about the car dealers, I hate car dealers. Do not buy from a car dealer. Because they have no ethics. It's really bad if you don't know the insides of it. They got so many tricks, and like literally you can buy a car that looks nice. It's in beautiful condition, and yet the transmission's bad, and they know it, but because the transmission will last 2 months and it gets past the lemon law, then you're stuck, and they don't care. They just get off on selling cars, to me, and so they get through all the laws, they get through all the rules, so it's ethical. But is that ethical if you know that it has something wrong with it? And a lot of people will immediately say, buyer beware. It's a buyer beware economy. Like, okay, so you seriously think it's okay to know that the thing you're selling has an issue that the buyer doesn't know, and the buyer wouldn't know because they're not a mechanic, and you think it's ethical to sell it to that person? And there's so many people in the cult of money that will say, yeah, absolutely. I didn't do anything wrong. They had the chance to investigate it. They had the chance to look into it. They had the chance to spend 20 years learning about mechanics so that they would know this stuff. Or they had the chance to bring in a mechanic. Okay, well, that's true, but to me, that's unethical. And to any Christian, that should be unethical. Because the golden rule, okay, good girl. The golden rule, treat others as you would want to be treated. And then there's another verse in the New Testament. Don't look out for your own interests, but look out for the interests of others. Bam. There's a Christian ethic that should wake them up. Anyway, that's why I don't like money. And that's why I don't like the cult of money. Money itself isn't bad, but it's just so enticing, so alluring. And like I say, it has its own ethics. So, oh yeah, real estate. This is where it all started from. That's the other reason I started thinking about things in real estate that really comes along with being a realtor. Like the parts that I enjoy is talking real estate. I love having a client because I fill them in with all the information that they need and they trust me. And I like that. I love customer service. That's why if I do get a business, something I would love is like an Old West saloon where I sell root beer and whiskey and maybe some food at a good deal. But I'm hospitable, where I bring people in, they have a good time, they feel welcome, they feel wanted. And to me, I love hospitality. Whoops, all right, I went too far onto that. So anyway, that's the part of real estate that I like. I like driving a nice car and air conditioning. I like wearing a suit or whatever nice clothes I wear and looking at houses and having the expertise. It's fun, that part's fun. And the money is good. It's ruined me. That's why I can't go out and work all day for $100 anymore, because I used to make thousands. And trust me, when I first became a realtor, it was, I think one of my first early on checks was like $2,500 or $3,000. I felt like I was rich. I was blown away at how much money I was making for the kind of work I was doing. Anyway, I should have been homeless though. I should have been living up in the mountains. But anyway, so I started thinking about what really comes along with being a realtor besides the parts that I enjoy. It's, like I said, there's a lot of real estate. Realtors have a bad reputation for dishonesty, and they deserve it. That's why anytime people didn't trust me as a realtor, I let them know as soon as I could. Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. That's why I work honest. And my clients loved me for that. They loved my honesty. Not just for that, but they saw it played out. And so, the behind the scenes crap that's going on. Like a realtor, they'll give you information. They meet their ethical requirements. They meet the requirements of being a realtor, but they don't give all the information that a client actually wants. But the client doesn't know. They might sell 2 or 3 houses in their lifetime, and it's so complicated that there's no way to expect them to know. And so as a realtor, you can just give them enough information where they think they're being informed. It's really confusing. It's so easy to give out the information and confuse and overwhelm somebody. And people naturally don't want to be confused and overwhelmed, and they don't want to show that they are. So they'll just nod their head. And if you can overwhelm them, then they will have to be faced with, do I just trust this person? This is the psychology of it. Nobody will tell you about. It's just what I believe and know. Do I trust this person or do I walk away? Well, most people, if you're being nice, if you're smiling, and then especially if you're in a nice office, I didn't have an office. I kept that overhead out. I went to Starbucks. Most people are gonna, okay, I just give up. I just trust you. That's how you can manipulate people. And I didn't do that. I gave them actual information. I let people make their own choices and stuff like that. But I know what's going on. And you see these people who are only half informed, they're not fully informed, and yet they stay loyal to their realtor. And it's just like in comedy, it's just this society, this culture that I don't want to be around. You see these realtors succeeding, and you know what they're doing, and then you lose business to them also. Like, seriously, like, you're a friend of mine, I'm being super honest with you, and yet you're gonna go with this person over me? I don't like that kind of thing. I mean, maybe you could call that being thick-skinned. That is difficult when people go, but it's not. I mean, I had enough business. I had more business than I could handle. I almost had a nervous breakdown. I think I would have. Maybe I did. I don't know what a nervous breakdown is. But I was pretty much a zombie when I finally got out of it. Yeah, anyway. So just being around all of that, being involved in it, it's just more than I wanted to do. And when I thought about that, okay, so why am I doing it? I love that these horses are hanging out with me. Hey, good girl. I don't know if they're still wanting grain at this point. Starting to think maybe she is liking hanging out. Maybe she likes being on camera. So anyway, when I thought about it, I'm like, so what am I going to go through all of this for? It's just money. I don't need the money. If I sell my property, I can make enough money to live off of. And then I'm thinking, what did I just spend these last 5 years for? So I could just become a realtor again? Because it would take more time than I know. So that's why I was kind of relieved when this person didn't get back to me. I was kind of then I got nervous thinking, oh man, I hope she doesn't get back to me. Because it is hard to turn that down. I mean, and on the other hand, even for this year, it would be really tempting to do it just to fund my film and to take care of a few financial things, get me ahead on a few things. But it would fund my film, it would fund my trip to do the film, but it's not worth it. I can do all this stuff. Because I believe there's another cult, and that is living intuitively. And I believe it's more powerful than the cult of money. And it's harder. It's easier to get into money because we feel the security. But getting into the insecure, not psychologically, not psychiatry, but getting into the insecure realms is where we really win. And that's when so that's what I don't want to give up on that and go the easy route. So that's my thing about money. I almost went to the mountains yesterday, but I chose not to. But maybe I'll go up. I hear there's less mosquitoes, and I got my microphones now. That's the main thing that kept me from going up there, is the mosquitoes and flies were so bad. I thought it's way better hanging out at home. And again, I don't like putting my horse through that. They have to deal with flies here, but they don't have to deal with mosquitoes. So it's like a dragon. They don't have to deal with mosquitoes here, so come on, move your head. So I hate to put them through that, but I asked people who've been up there, and there's some people up there now, obviously, and so I'm going to ask them how the mosquitoes were. So I might start going back up there and get some videos out. I put out 2 shorts, one yesterday, one today, from my trip. That guy showed up. He was probably a friendly guy. I wanted to go talk to him, but you never know up there. It's like, usually people are friendly when camping, but walking up to him, you never know. It's like, did he come here? You feel like, oh, he got here to get away from people. He doesn't want me walking up and talk to him. But in reality, he probably would have been really friendly. And maybe I should have talked to him. But I was also afraid, if I talk to him, then I'm going to feel committed to staying here, because he didn't do anything wrong, technically. I mean, you know, he can camp wherever he wants. That's why it's just, I didn't expect anyone. You go up during the week, even on the weekends, it has been empty up there. And even on the weekend. And so to see somebody showing up on a Monday, I'm wondering if he was a lifer, if he lives in his travel trailer, because he had Starlink internet and he set up pretty elaborately. All right, let's go to some comments. It looks like I missed a couple that I could have addressed while I was talking about it. Dead Wolf Resistance says, not anymore our country, our people, no longer will we compromise. I'm not exactly fully sure what you meant there. Dead Wolf says, I sold a Dodge 1500. I told my buyer it likely would need a transmission. Yes, the Dodges are bad with their automatic transmissions. Right away, no long trips, and be prepared to tow it home. I got $2,000 for that truck. That's, see, there you go. That's honest. That's a good price. It's about a going price for a Dodge with the transmission that's going out. It was like $5,000 to rebuild them. I don't know if prices have gone up. My Dodge is an automatic, and it had a rebuilt transmission a few thousand miles before I got it. My other one had 160,000 miles on it when I sold it, my 2006 on the automatic, and it had never had a rebuilt, and I think it's still going. Because I was really careful with, I'm really careful with my transmissions. Yeah, that guy set up so close to me. I thought he was going to go take any other spot, and he comes and sets up right in the wide open and in the sun, right out in the sunshine. And now here's the thing about that. I was thinking to myself, well, I mean, I can air conditioner, then I can get, all right, why you'd park in the sun, even though it's easier to stay warm when you're out of the sun. But I thought, I mean, I get it. I'd be right in view of the river. But then he put his back to the river. He didn't even park so he could look at the river. He didn't set up. All that gazebo and his awning were facing away from the river. I was like, what a waste. You city people. I don't know. People are crazy. But then I'm quite different. I'm more unique. But my goodness. I mean, if you're taking an RV like that up into the mountains, you're not really there to be a part of the nature. I mean, I still get it. I know why people would take them up. It's not like it's silly to take an RV up into the mountains. You're still in the mountains, but they definitely aren't like trying to be connected to nature. these horses. Hey, good girls. Um, for those of you who don't remember, this is Comanche Moon. Sorry, girl, I didn't mean to scare you. And this one's Nam Numkin. And Comanche Moon might be pregnant. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping she is, because she was put in with this really good stud. He's got a good brain. He puts out good babies. And he's a roan, so there's a possibility that I could get a roan. But it's not a really high likelihood. But even if it was a gray, grays are cool too. That would be cool. And you're cool too. I love how she looks. I love this nose thing. I call her Two-Face. See how from the side she looks like she has a white nose, and then from this side, hey, come here, girl. If she goes far enough, you can't even see it. See over here, it looks like she has a brown face. I call her Two-Face. Yep, so that's that, folks. We've had a mild summer. It's been so nice. Well, my friend down in Phoenix is dealing with 117 degrees. I'm up here dealing with high 80s, low 90s. And mostly temps in the 80s are forecast. Dead Wolf says the Dodge diesel models have a good transmission. Not the automatics. The V10 Dodge has the same transmissions as the diesels. That's what I had, was a V10, the 98 V10, the one that I couldn't sell. That's what happens when you buy a gas engine. I thought I was doing fine with it. And I did, as far as the numbers went. There's just no market for the V10 at the time. As a diesel, those models of Dodge are all good. However, stay away from all Dodge 1500 models. Oh, okay, well, maybe. I mean, I've heard they were all bad, but yeah, maybe it was just the 1500s giving them the reputation. I didn't realize that. My V10 was a stick, so I didn't deal with it with that one. Yeah, interesting. See, you can always learn more stuff. Thanks, Dead Wolf. There's so much to know. All right, well, let's see. Anything else to talk about? I found an artifact in the creek. I don't think I talked about this one before. It's broken, so it used to be a lot longer. And a guy I know that these Indian things, primarily the Hidatsa culture, he sent me pictures showing me what this would look like if it wasn't broken. And it's awfully heavy. So I was standing in my creek, washing my hands, I think, and I saw this, that it looked different. I was like, that looks awfully different from a normal rock. So I picked it up. Sure enough, it's is it the mortar or the pestle? Anyway, it's for grinding things. So I was thrilled about that. The problem is, I think I have talked about this before. I found it in the creek down here, and rocks roll in the creek, if you don't know that. Hang out next to a river or a creek, and you can hear these thump, thump, thumps. It's because the rocks are rolling down stream. So who knows, first off, how old it is. 150 years, 500 years, 1,000 years. If it's 1,000 years old, who knows where it started? Because I want to find evidence that this was a camp, that my property was a camp. I do have evidence that downstream from me was a camp area. That's well known. There's even a plaque, not a plaque, a stone thing set up down there talking about it. But I also have a written account of it, and so it's well known. So I assume that they camped up here, because I don't think that they went to the same spot every year. But then also a lot of it was marshy, so there would be spots that are better where you can approach the creek versus spots where there's a bunch of marsh and you can't approach it. And so I want to find evidence that this was a camp, that they camped here. But that's really difficult because the creek was probably right here where we're standing. There's river rock all around here. And I've lived on rivers and creeks enough in my lifetime to know that they move drastically. So really this whole valley was probably creek bed at one time because it moves so much. But yeah, it'd be neat to find out if this was a camp or not. At my other property, I've had, neighbors have found evidence, but I never had, and I found a for sure legitimate arrowhead. And of course I left it there. But I found one. It was on one of my properties. And then like 3 or 4 days later, I found it on the easement, the roadway. 3 or 4 days later, another guy who bought property out there bulldozed that easement to make it smoother to drive on, and that would have been that that arrowhead would have been totally lost. So to me, finding artifacts it's like a spiritual thing. It's like they're given to you. I mean, obviously if you go out looking for them, then you're going to have more luck, but I just wait until they come across my path. And finding it just a few days before it got bulldozed, I don't know. I feel like it was given to me, but obviously there's no proof for that. That could easily be argued away, but you got to live it to understand it. Dead Wolf Resistance says, yep, stay away from Dodge. Agreed. Yeah, that's the gist of it all. I used to love Dodges, and now that I've owned them long enough, I know better. The only good thing about a Dodge is the Cummins, and that's not even Dodge. So, Craig Curtis says, ever try metal detectors? No, but metal detectors are really impressive now, and I would like to, but I got so much to learn. It's like another learning curve and more money to spend. I think $500 to $800 is what I would want to spend for a good one. I do have a friend in Richland who said he has a couple of them. He and I talked about it, so eventually we might try that. Then the other thing is finding places to go and use it. I know of an area where the military camped back in the 1850s, I think it was. It's like 3 hours from here, or 2.5 hours, but I'd like to go there and try it. Hey, Justin Sheldon, late to the party. Are you at work or are you at home? Speaking to Justin, he's helping me with the costuming for my movie, and I bought this quirt. There's 2 tools for making a horse go that doesn't want to go. 3 if you count just plain training. But a pair of spurs, that's what I used on my gelding that I had, or a quirt. And cowboys used to carry these like an extension of their arm. And she responds better to this. I've slapped her with the reins. It's not mean. I've slapped her with the reins, and that gets her going. I've used spurs. She overreacts to spurs. But anyway, for my movie, my character is a cowboy. And so I got to wear this thing around to get used to it so that when I'm acting, I'm not like self-conscious of this thing. This has got to be like an extension of my arm so that when I'm acting, it's not noticeable that I've got it. It's got to just be natural, like I've been wearing it for years. Because you ever wore a suit when you're young? You wear a suit, or any of us, you put on a suit because we don't wear them. You can see that you're self-conscious of it, or conscious of it. You're very conscious of wearing the suit, and that's not how you want to look if you're acting. Like if you're portraying a businessman in a movie, you want it to look like you wear a suit all the time and you never even think about it. And that's how it is with this. I want it to look like I don't even think about it. because right now I'm quite conscious of having it on, but in a couple of months, I also try to swat flies with it. There's a fly on my phone. Right now, anyway, I forgot what I said. Craig says dirty it up a little bit. Yes, that's the other thing. In November we're filming, so by November this thing should look nice and broke in. Eventually I'm going to put some oil on it, and that'll help a ton for making it look like I've had it for a while. So anyway, fun stuff like that. A lot of preparation for my film. Really looking forward to it. I will never wear a suit ever again. I gotta say, I love suits. They came out of the, I mean, suits are essentially the Old West clothing. They're still made from wool if you get the right one. I hate all these polyester spandex suits that are popular. You can still get a wool suit. That's what they used to wear in the Old West, was essentially a suit, just with heavier wool. Now the wool is so thin. I mean, it's nice, but makes it very different. Anyway, I gotta say, I do love suits, but I'll be happy if I never wear one. I gotta make my own clothing eventually. All right. Justin says work schedule's been goofy. I've missed a few live videos again. I've been off on Saturdays traveling today. Oh, yeah, I wondered if you're going to be getting back into your work schedule. Are you on your way to an event? All right. Well, speaking of money, I got to fix this up and probably sell that. And that'll cover my money needs for the immediate time. All right, everybody. I got the warning light on my phone that my battery is dead. Oh, concert. You going to see Coldplay? Make sure you're with your wife. So I got the warning light that my battery is nearly dead, and I guess I'll sign out. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm glad this new channel is working. I guess it's working. I'll still be posting, obviously, reminders on the other channel, but hopefully I can get another camp video out pretty soon. All right, it's been fun. Thanks for the interaction. Hope you all have a great weekend, and remember, life's a lot more fun over on the wild side.